And joining me now is Speaker Emerita of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who was a longtime friend of Tony Bennett's, a lover of his music. Speaker Pelosi, thank you for being with us. As we were watching that clip, you remind me that you were there in 2021 as Tony Bennett performed alongside Lady Gaga. Already afflicted with Alzheimer's, he still could belt it out. What was it like, and what do you remember most about Mr. Bennett?
Well, it's pretty sad to, even though 96 and that he had the diagnosis he had, it's still a shock to face the reality that our national treasure has left us. My husband Paul and I had the privilege of being at many performances of Tony Bennett and at different birthdays, 80, 85, and 9, and at the 95th birthday, and of course at Radio City Music Hall. We saw him perform with Lady Gaga a number of times. But he was such an artist, so creative, not only in his singing and his writing, but in his painting. And respecting it, his investment of time, resources, and celebrity in investing in children and their learning the arts, establishing a school in New York City for that purpose. But most people don't know he really was a super patriot, fought at the Battle of the Bulge, freed a concentration camp, and then came home and later marched with Reverend Martin Luther King. And just the list goes on and on of his civic participation.
I want to ask you about his service in a moment. I'm reminded in 2018, you welcomed back to your home city the man who obviously saying that he left his heart in San Francisco, where you named, what was it, Tony Bennett Way, a stretch of Mason Street.
That's right.
In San Francisco, my home as well. Talk about his life and his legacy, and as importantly, what he meant to the Italian-American community.
Yes, well, of course, we had our Italian-American connection, which we took great pride in. He always was talking about his childhood and his family, and when he then went into the service and how he was attracted to the entertainment business with that beautiful voice. And his wife Susan is so remarkable, and she's from the Bay Area. She's from South Bay. You're from East Bay. And he, we always think he sang I Left My Heart in San Francisco many, many years ago, even before he was even met Susan, but we think that it carried on in her name, and we're all in her debt. All of us who care about him are indebted to her of how she just was so loving to him for such a long time.
And I want to play for us, for you and for our audience. Andrea Mitchell is with the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, speaking about Tony Bennett, and he spoke about how the Secretary says that Bennett connected people so powerfully through music. Take a listen.
What an incredible career that spanned decades and that rejuvenated in many ways in the last couple of decades of his life with these incredible collaborations with new artists. Lady Gaga obviously comes to mind. There's no greater champion of the American songbook. If it's Gershwin, if it's Cole Porter, if it's Rodgers and Hammerstein, that's Tony Bennett.
So many of us have seen those public performances, right? He was just such an icon. You saw so many of these performances in small settings as well. Back in 2019, he serenaded you at the Italian embassy on the eve of your regaining the speakership. What is that like to be serenaded by Tony Bennett and to hear him up close and personal?
Well, you have to know we were quite surprised that night because we thought he'd sing one or two songs, and he sang for more than half an hour.
Amazing.
And the people who were there, and it was the Clintons, it was everybody came that night, many of our supporters, our grassroots folks as well. And this morning I'm getting all these messages from people saying, you know, we were so honored to be there. And then I was honored to have him, to acknowledge him from the podium when he was in the audience when I was sworn in for my second series of speakerships. He was a dear friend. I loved him very much. I'll miss him very much. But in San Francisco, it's not only a stretch of Mason Street, it's a statue dedicated to him. So it's really a draw right there in the front of the Fairmont Hotel.
It's clear that this is personal to you. What did he mean to you, Madam Speaker, personally?
Well, there he is singing that song. And we had so many connections. Of course, our Italian-American connection, which was so important to us. His civic involvement, Martin Luther King, as I mentioned. He was an artist himself, and when he would come and do events for us, he would look at the art in people's homes, and they loved the fact that he had an appreciation for that. But personally, to me, we loved him and Susan so much, Paul and I, and to be there at Radio City Music Hall. But after the big ceremony, there were just a couple, maybe a dozen, 24 of us who were invited in for the cutting of the cake. Yeah. And again, many honors are afforded a member of Congress, a Speaker of the House. But to be there for the cutting of Tony Bennett's 95th birthday cake, that was a real privilege. And again, a sign of our connection. Danny, his son, I spoke to this morning, and he was telling me of the last moments, and I'm sure the family will share all of that. And they did. They said that he sang Because of You, that last song that he sang right before he started.
How is the family doing?
They're overwhelmed by the outpouring of emotion, support, enthusiasm. They're just saying it's just so incredible to hear.
So many fond memories for so many people.
It's overwhelming, they said, globally and nationally and locally, so many, such an outpouring, and that is a real comfort to them. They'll speak to that. I don't presume to speak for them, but you asked that question, and what they said was, can you believe all of how he inspired so many people? Yes, I can believe it.
Madam Speaker, we are sorry for your loss. We are grateful for your time and for sharing some of your fond memories of a man that so many of us have admired and loved from a distance for so long. Thank you for being with us.
A national treasure, and he always said the best is yet to come. So let's be optimistic.
We're going to be back with more of the best.